Oh, what a joy it is to be back here, to see all the lovely faces that I remember so well and to see some brand new faces. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Our title today is The Gift of a New Journey. And, I think our lives are on a continuous journey, that we are constantly evolving, that we are constantly growing, that we're constantly changing. We are never the same. We're never the same. We're never in the same place. When I was applying for the job, I thought, well, are they going to want me? Because they know me. Maybe they're looking for somebody new. And I looked at who I was when I left here in 2018 and who I am now, and I realized, yeah, they're not the same. Not the same quite at all. I've grown, I've changed, I've evolved. And I like who I am. And I like the things that I do, and I like the experiences that I've had that led me to this place. And so even though it may seem like it's the same thing, because for those of you that don't know, I've lived in Las Vegas since I was 16 years old, 1977. I moved here with my family. I found Centers for Spiritual Living in 2005. It is the birthplace of my transformation. It is the place where I developed spiritually, where I took classes, where I learned who I was and how I worked in the world and the nature of life and the nature of God and the nature of all of this. And I want you to know this right here and right now. It wasn't that building on Harmon. It was right here in the hearts of each one of you. That's where the transformation happened. That's where the change happened. It's not a physical structure, but it is a community of support and love and all of the wonderful gifts that I've been given while I was here. Ugly cry. Anyway, I am so grateful to be back and to be doing this. I'm so excited about what is being birthed here through the consciousness of you beloved people. This is just an amazing time for our community. And I know that we are a transformative force in the Las Vegas Valley. I know that this is the place where people can come and change their lives. I know that this is a place of love, of joy, of connection. And I know that it is so much needed right here, right now in our world. And whether that connection can happen in person, like it's happening right now, or whether that connection is happening through our online classes, through our online services, through the experiences that we're able to provide, I know that that is a powerful force, and it is a force for change. And that change is so much needed in our world today. And so I'm so excited to be here and to be doing this work and to be with you folks. Be with my beloved people, to be with my friends that are so near and dear to me, to be here and to be back. And so, anyway, I'll talk today. This year we're looking at the theme of everyday wisdom. Sorry, that's not even it. Timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. See, I'm all screwed up now. Timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. And our theme for this month has been the journey of becoming, what it is we're actually being called to become in our lives for each one of us. And so today we're looking at that amazing gift that is available to us when we embark on a new journey. So our founder, Ernest, says, Joe, do you have that first quote? Our founder, Ernest, says this about our journeys. He says, nature will not let us stay in one place too long. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and the advancement of the soul. And so sometimes we think of that we have to leave the physical place that we're in order to have this evolutionary advancement of our soul. But that isn't the case. Each day we become a new person. Each day we are given an opportunity to look at things differently. And each day we can make a decision, conscious or unconscious. We can make a decision about whether we want to stay where we're at or whether we actually want to move out of the situation that we're in. And so as we're embarking on this new journey each and every moment, there are things that are happening in our lives. We are on a constant, eternal evolutionary spiral of upward advancement, of upward evolution. We start in a place that we're at, and whatever that place is, whether our soul comes here as an old soul that knows more, or whether we're just beginning our existence in this particular incarnation here. We come with a set of ideas, and yet every day we are given the opportunity for ever spiraling upward evolution. So Ernest says it this way in his many of his books. He talks about this upward spiral. He didn't actually believe in reincarnation. He thought, I've been here, I've done this, I don't want to do it again. I want to spiral on up to my next plane of evolution. But he says it this way: the ultimate goal of life does not mean that we shall ever arrive at a spiritual destination where everything remains static and inactive. In other words, we're not going to finally be enlightened and never have to change again. That to which our present understanding seems an ultimate goal will, when attained, be but the starting point for new and further evolution. We believe in an eternal upward spiral of existence. An eternal upward spiral of existence. There's a theory of evolutionary change that's called spiral dynamics. And in spiral dynamics, it's just exactly what it says. It's a spiral, and it's an upward spiral. And it starts out small and closed at the end, just like a funnel or a tornado would be, small and closed at the end, and yet big and expansive at the top. And so as we reach this place in consciousness, we continually move upward on this spiral. Some of us advance a little faster than others. Some of us need to spend more time in a specific area of that. The really good news is if you're in this room, you're already more than halfway there to the top. So just so you know, you are already more advanced than a lot of the population because you are open and accepting to the evolution of your soul. You're open and accepting to communal, collective consciousness as opposed to just a single individual consciousness. You are, the area is called, each area is given green. So you're in the green area. These are what we call the cultural creatives, people who want to change the world for the world itself, not necessarily what I can get out of it. And so as we move through this evolutionary spiral, always moving upward, it affects how we behave in different situations. So if we have a situation, this right here, this is an event. Maybe it's a challenge in your life. Maybe it's something that happened to you. And if you're working at the lower level, so if I can do this with the mic, you're down here. You're spiraling around at the bottom level. And as you continue to spiral around, that challenge is still here in front of you, but you're now looking at it from a different angle. As you move upward, you are looking at it from a higher point of view. And as you continue to spiral around upward and upward, eventually you get to a point where you are completely looking down on that situation, where you can see it from a higher plane of consciousness and understand the truth that's involved in that. Where you're not operating from the effect down here at the bottom level, you're able to see it from a higher state of view. And that changes the way that we perceive the events in our lives. And so if we are having a challenge, we can know that the next day I can choose to look at that from a higher point of view. Instead of being stuck in the mire and the muck down at the bottom where we're working on this instinctive, primal, defensive, protective kind of attitude, we can choose to look at it from a higher point of view. Like, what is in this situation for the evolution of my soul? And so each day we are given that opportunity. So each day we get, well, actually each moment by moment, we get a new opportunity to change how we perceive the situations in our lives. We are on an ever eternal upward spiral of evolution. And as we continue to move on that and not stay stuck in that one place, then things in our lives begin to change. We begin to experience. Doesn't mean that we don't have the challenging experiences, but we can look at them from a higher point of consciousness and react to them in a different point of view. And so this is one of our the greatest blessings that we have, being someone who's halfway up the spiral already. You're already looking at it from a different point of view than the folks that are still down here reacting to it so intensely. Now, the other thing is that, just like so many things, it's not fixed. So sometimes we still react from that primal point of view. But at least I find that I more quickly see it can get to that point where I can see it from a higher state of consciousness than I could before. Before, I would spend weeks and weeks stuck in the mire and the muck. And now it's like, oh yeah, this sucks. Let's see what we can do to get out of it. And so I begin to do my spiritual practices and to do the work that I have been trained to do to get myself out of that stagnant place of stuck energy there. So I can actually move forward with my evolutionary path. So, one of the things that Ernest said he said it in many different ways, and I've actually interpreted it in my own mind as there's no power in precedent. There's no power in precedent. He says, you want to put that last quote up, Joe? He says it this way in the Living the Science of Mind. He says, principle is not bound by precedent. In other words, the truth that we know isn't under the effect of anything that's come before it. The precedent does not negate the principle. So principle is not bound by precedent. And our good is not limited or conditioned by any good that has ever been manifested, or any bad for that matter. We should confidently expect a greater good than we have ever experienced, or than we have ever known of anyone experiencing. And so as we begin to shift and remember that principle is not bound by precedent, that the truth that we learn, the truth that we embody, is not bound by anything that's happened before it. So for instance, we have a spiritual truth that there is an unconditional universal love that exists here in the world. Everybody agree with that? We have that spiritual truth that there is this unconditional love permeating every aspect of life. Do you always feel that unconditional love? Do you ever encounter anyone who's not exhibiting unconditional love? Right. We are faced with challenges, and we are faced with things that seem to negate the spiritual principle. But when we can get to that place where we can look at it from that higher point of consciousness, then we begin to see the truth there. And we begin to experience it in a different way. That there are things that are operating in the lives of the people that are exhibiting this less than unconditional love that can, if we look at them from a higher point of view, we can begin to understand that those folks are operating at a lower level on the spiral. And so we just kind of give them a little bit of grace, a little bit of ease there. It doesn't mean we have to tolerate the situation. It doesn't mean we have to agree with it. It doesn't mean that we have to have it in our experience. We can move ourselves away from it. But each moment, we're given that opportunity to change how we look at the different things in life. And so each day, each time is an extreme opportunity for us to experience the birth of a new journey within our lives. Each moment that we have is a chance for our creation. I think this is one of the exciting things that we have to offer here at Centers for Spiritual Living, is this idea that nothing is stagnant, that every moment we are given an opportunity to change, and that our change, no matter how slow it may seem to us, is forever and ever spiraling upward. I know for myself, one of the things that I often say is I want to clear the challenges, the things that have, the hidden beliefs and the things that have been operating in my life out of my experience in this plane of existence. Because I don't want to have to do it again in the next plane of existence. I don't want to have to go through that again. And so I'll do the work here, while I'm cognizant of it, I'll do the work to clear that out. And that's one of the greatest gifts that we have here at Centers for Spiritual Living, is we have lots and lots of opportunities for you to do the work, because not every way works for everyone. Some folks need to sit in quiet meditation to get clarity. Some folks actually need to be active and engaged in different things. One of the things that I love to do is a walking meditation on a labyrinth. I find that as I go into the labyrinth, things just unfold very clearly to me in my consciousness. We have lots of different ways of engaging in spiritual activity here at the center. One of the most profound ways that I found in my 17 years here at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas, is that being in service. sacred service, is a way for me to get out of my challenges. I remember I used to run the bookstore. I worked in the bookstore. That's how I got here. And I used to run the bookstore. And I called it my sanctuary. Because when I was challenged, I went and did some work in the bookstore. Because it was a super peaceful place, and it smelled really good. As you remember. And I could just go there and work for hours, just being in sacred service. And just, whatever needed to be done, it didn't matter. But I was finding a place where I could be peaceful enough that I could get clarity, and the situations solved themselves pretty easily. We have the most phenomenal spiritual education that is available out here. There are other religious denominations who are actively seeking to get our education program. That's how good it is. We have lots of different classes that are happening here. This past week, I set and made up a schedule of classes from now until summer. And so we have 7 different classes. 4 of them are brand new, never been taught here before. 4 of them are original ones that I've created. 3 of them are certificated classes. 2 of the certificated classes have been taught here before, but they are both under revision right now, so it'll be a new and different class. We have our visioning class, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's being revised by our own beloved Reverend Jeffrey Ryan, who is the chair of the Vision Corps for Centers for Spiritual Living. It's going to be available in the spring, so I'll be teaching it in May and June, I believe. And it's a phenomenal class. He's actually gotten a way to take visioning to that next level, to that next way of having it work in your lives to change situations and challenges and so forth. So I'm really excited about that class. The other one is Meditation is More Than You Think, which is one of my most favorite classes to teach and to take. And I've completely revised it since, I think it's been 5 years since I taught it here anyway. And so I'm looking forward to doing that one again. It's fun. It's an exploration of about 40 different an exploration of about 40 different meditation techniques, and goes from simple breathing to all the way up to ecstatic dancing. So I hope you consider taking one of the classes. I have put on the table over by the door there about 15 copies of the class schedule. They're going to be coming out next week on an e-blast, so you'll get all that information there. The other excited thing that I'm excited about for this year is with our new theme. Our new theme for next year is Living Everyday Wonder. And the committee that puts it together also suggests books. And so I have taken that book list and chosen some really great, mostly new books that have come out lately. And we're going to do a monthly book study. So it'll be, each month will be a different book. So we'll do a book study once a week. And so the schedule for that is also on there. Next month's book of the month is What's in the Way is the Way. In other words, what is challenging us? We have to move through that to get to the other side of it. So what's in the way is the way. And I'm excited about that one. It's a really, really great book. And I've got some of our more popular writers and authors out there. In February, we're doing Brene Brown's new book, The Atlas of the Heart. I have a book from Oprah Winfrey, one of my favorite writers, Richard Rohr, and Thich Nhat Hanh, and quite a few different books there. So if you'd like to consider joining our book study, those are totally free. The book study it's going to be held on Zoom on Wednesday afternoons. And so you're welcome to join us for that. And we have just lots of different ways that we're going to be engaging throughout the year. On New Year's Day, I'm going to do an intention setting experience at 3 o'clock on New Year's Day. So it's going to also be held on Zoom. So it's a chance for us to reflect on what this previous year has been for us, and then set our intentions for 2022. I think, for me, I find that setting an intention is really powerful. I know in 2020 was my 60th year here on the planet, so I decided I was going to make this a year of intentional living. And boy, did that ever happen. So 2020 was quite a year for me, quite a lot of change in my life and a lot of growth and a lot of wonderful opportunities I had to expand. And so I find a great power in setting an intention. So I hope you consider joining us on New Year's Day. I tried to make it in the middle of the afternoon. Those folks who had been out all night, you didn't have to get up too early. And I didn't want to make it too late for those of us who were going to go to bed early because we needed to sleep more. So anyway, it's going to be on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So I hope you join us for that. And we have one exciting thing else that's happening this year, which is our annual Christmas broadcast. And so again, we're going to be doing this on Zoom as we did last year. Our phenomenal musicians like David here and Justin and quite a few other people that are going to be joining us for a beautiful night of music and inspiration. I've added in a little candle lighting portion of that so we can take our Silent Night song and light our candles to that. So make sure you have a candle with you when you're watching it so you can participate in that. I think that ritual aspect of lighting a candle is so significant in our lives to just remind ourselves that there is an eternal light that is burning within us all the time. So I hope you take the opportunity to take advantage of all these wonderful things that we have to offer. And as we are getting closer to finding a building, we'll be increasing the number of activities that we have as long as it's safe to do so in this interesting time we're living in here. So we will follow the guidelines at all times. That will be our guiding and directing force for what is safe and what is not. And so I'm so glad that we have this amazing space here at Abston Elementary School where we can socially distance. I took a picture yesterday and put it on Facebook, and I don't know how many people commented, "Oh my goodness, I like how socially distanced you are." 6 feet apart and all masked and everything. So it's a beautiful opportunity we have. I'm so grateful for the faculty and staff at Abston Elementary School who makes that possible, and for our own beloved Christine Page, who is a member of that faculty here, who arranged all of this for us. I also want to thank our Leadership Council, who has kept this place running over the last couple of years. It's been an amazing job that they have done. The previous Leadership Council, the current Leadership Council, the ministers like Reverend Colleen and Reverend Claire who pitched in, and Reverend Richard who pitched in and just kept this place going. So it has been an amazing collective consciousness that has kept Centers for Spiritual Living alive here in the Las Vegas Valley. And I can't wait to see what grows out of it. I hope you're going to consider joining me for that experience and that adventure. All right, so let's just take a moment and turn within here. One of our most powerful spiritual practices is our form of prayer. We call it spiritual mind treatment. It is a form of affirmative prayer that acknowledges the presence of the divine, that unifies ourselves and others with it, that then speaks words of truth, of principle, of knowing. And we end it with gratitude and a release. And so turning within to that place in consciousness, that place where I feel that eternal peace, that place that is alive in me. And from this place, I know that there is only one divine, eternal essence, one loving creator, one infinite intelligence. And this amazing one has brought forth everything into existence. It keeps the stars in alignment and the planets turning and the tides moving in and out and the sun rising. And it does it all without any conscious thought. It has breathed life into each one of us and instilled with us its very essence, that the presence of the divine is in me as it is in you. And what a joy it is to behold. What a joy it is to feel this power and this presence, and to see it operating through everything in front of me, continuously, constantly, and perfectly. And so I know that there is divine principles operating right here and right now. That these principles, these truths, these are universal. They're unwaverable. They have been in existence since the very beginning. And they are operating in each one of our lives right now. Truths such as we live in an abundant universe. A universe that answers all of our needs before we can ever speak them. We live in a world of unconditional love, of divine harmony, of infinite joy. We live in a world that is led by grace and fortified by faith. And I know that whenever we experience conditions that seem other than, we have an opportunity to turn within, to start anew, to rejoice in the gift of the new journey, each and every moment of our lives. And oh, how grateful I am to know this. How grateful I am to feel this power and presence. How grateful I am to see it operating throughout this world. And I just release this into the arms of the loving Creator that always says yes. I let it go and I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.